Hello world, this is your boy Daniel Garcia, the host of this podcast, and we're back with another episode 4. You hear me? 4. I'm with my brother.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Luis Munoz. Pleasure talking with all you guys. Hope we can get a good word today.
This is his first interview, and it's right here on One Till Finish. Let's go. So today the topic is, it's about demons. What are demons? Are they even real? Alright, so let's start with your upbringing, like your childhood.
It's a long story.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
just how you got here to this age, you know what I mean?
Well, in the beginning, I mean, I guess you could say my upbringing wasn't very positive. Obviously, like a lot of people, you know what I mean? We all
We can relate to
have
that.
a lot of strife, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But early on in my age, I've always been no stranger to danger, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're running after danger?
I guess you could say that a little bit, but as long as I can remember, it's always been like a negative experience for me.
Yeah, I hear that. So, then how was your teen years? So as a child, you were like that too?
I guess so. Just because when I was very young, I've always been able to see a lot of things that would probably jump skin out of the other people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm probably saying that wrong,
But yeah, we get it. It would scare the normal man that doesn't deal with these certain visions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if you would call them visions, but like, or dreams. You know what I mean? Because like they would really happen. You'd feel it. You'd know it.
Yeah, they're visions and dreams. So then in your teens, that happened too?
It still happened. Yeah. Throughout
so
my
how was
lifetime.
it like? Were you into like alcohol or drinking and stuff like that?
In the beginning, no.
Did you try to like knock it off?
No. None of
In your childhood?
None of my childhood, no. Of course not, man. I would start seeing things when I was like maybe 4 or 3 years old. But I would see drugs. You know, it wasn't like as if it wasn't around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would see drugs around me. I would see alcohol. You know, empty bottles, litters of other kinds of stuff. You know, needles. You know?
Yeah. And it just wasn't your thing?
Of course not, bro. What kid needs to see all that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But teenage years wasn't any better. You know, my teenage years wasn't any better. Adulthood, it got a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Where I started to indulge myself into all kinds of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you were trying to, all the visions and stuff, you're trying to make it not true, huh?
I guess you could say I had a bit of concern for that, but at the same time, it wasn't anything new, so it wasn't like as if I wanted it to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was more like something that you felt like was normal.
All right. So then, now we'll just get into it because we're practically talking about it. So you've been having visions and dreams of the other side, right?
Yeah.
You've been having the visions and dreams of the other side since you can remember, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into, let's go to dark stories first, and then we'll get into the light stories.
Okay. Dark stories, light stories. There's really not much to discern when it comes down to light and dark.
Yeah.
Because I guess they're all pretty dark.
Yeah.
And there's not really one of them that's actually light.
Light? Yeah, but one will be left on a better positive note than a negative note. So let's talk about how you even see demons.
When I would see them, it started off as a young kid. I started off as a young kid when I first seen them. But they would more or less unlikely to just kind of show themselves as a shadow, and the figure wasn't too appealing. I gotta say.
Yeah.
It was just more like of slanky.
So it was like a silhouette?
Not exactly.
It was a shadow on the wall?
A shadow on a wall, or they would manifest itself into an actual body, but you wouldn't see it. As far as I could see the face.
So it was like a see-through body, like a silhouette body with a face?
I guess you could say that, but it manifested itself into an actual body, but you weren't able to see the body, but you would see the face.
Huh.
So just imagine if you can.
A floating head?
Not exactly. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I'm trying to explain. Is that like it's
because I've interviewed people, and especially the last podcast.
Uh-huh.
Then they said they'll go to cemeteries and you'll see what we're saying. There was You knew it was a body. You knew it was a head.
Yeah, you would see the body.
Yeah,
and
but
see the
you
head,
know that it wasn't a body. It was a spirit. It was like I called it spirit body on the last one, so we'll go with that again.
Yeah, that's fine. If it helps,
spirit bottle. Yeah, help the audience.
If it helps the audience understand it, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Silhouette, spirit bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what we mean, right?
You guys know exactly what we're talking about.
So like, would they? When the ones on the wall, would they be black, white, colored?
It would just depend on the lighting itself.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, when I first saw one, he had this.
What age?
I was 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yeah, I was 4 years old. Yeah, man, it was a very trippy instance. It was more or less than likely to happen.
That's so wild. You can remember that at 4 years old.
Oh, dude, how can I forget my first time? How can I forget? It was the scariest moment of my life.
All right, explain it. We need that.
Whew. Okay, well, to sum it up, in the very beginning of my story of that chapter,
at 4 years old.
At 4 years old, yeah. We could hear some vague whispering. You know, it started off as whispering.
Yeah.
And then you would hear a voice that just sounds so similar to Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it sounds it sounds so similar, bro, but his voice was a little bit more of a higher pitch.
Yeah.
But it started off with just going, hey, hey. And then the voice goes, hey, hey. And you would kind of just like, ooh, what other 4-year-olds gonna understand that? Like,
a lot of us watching right now don't understand it.
No, of course not.
We need more detail.
So this was about the time I'm 4 years old.
Yeah,
I'm trying to color in my coloring book. You know what I mean? I'm at a friend's house with my mother, and this friend wasn't necessarily a friend that you needed to be hanging around with, but they were doing things that shouldn't be around children. Yeah. So, like I said, I've always been in San Bernardino. So when you get San Bernardino, you always get that wild side of everybody. You know what I mean? You always get that. So
all can change. Of course.
God,
all can change for love.
God is always in the midst. Yeah, I'll say that right now. But for sure, it started off as a whisper. Mm-hmm. It started off as a chuckle, like as if it was a taunting spirit. Yeah. And he was really wanting to try to connect, but to me, he sounded like an old child.
Oh, like an old child.
A lot of demons, they're just old kids. Yeah. They have tantrums. They have wants. They have needs. If you don't do it, you better do it. Yeah. You know, the way that I seen this spirit was more like he was a very slanky spirit where he kind of wanted to cover you, and you'd feel him brushing up against you. Yeah. So the moments where you would actually think that he wasn't there, he was there. He was just messing with you. Yeah. In a way where he would just kind of nudge you to let you know that he was still there. And when I was coloring in my coloring book, I was very meticulous when I would color. Yeah. I like to stay inside the lines, and he would just kind of
nudge you off the lines. Oh, frustrating.
So I was like, ah! And he would have this like ridiculous Chucky laugh, and he would have this same kind of laugh that Oogie Boogie would have, in a way, but just in a higher pitch.
Did you watch that a lot?
No. That wasn't even in my mind.
It wasn't, yeah.
It wasn't even
time when you got old enough to be like, hey, that sound like similarities?
Yeah, for a while I didn't really watch those movies.
Oh, okay.
For a long time I didn't really watch those movies because I would remember and it would play back in my head.
So that spirit, do you think, how long did he like be with you for? You said at 4?
Yeah, he would stay with me for a while. My there were times where I would see a woman in the middle of the street with a family friend or something like that, and this lady would turn around, her head would look like an owl, and she would turn around and look at me, and me and my sibling, we were there, and with a friend, he was a black friend, young guy, dude, like us, and we would look at this lady, and she would turn her head, look at us, and she would smile really like really big, but not a normal smile, it was just really big,
demonic smile.
It was a very big smile, really cheesy smile, but I was like, oh shoot, at first we were laughing because we were like, what the heck?
Yeah.
We're laughing about
So
it.
you and your buddy saw it.
Yeah, me and my buddy and my sibling.
Oh, your sibling.
Yeah, and she kind of turned around. She went into her house, which was across the street,
Yeah.
and the door never opened, but she got inside. And so she went inside the restroom. We could see her taking a shower, but we couldn't see her body. It was just, but we seen her face for a minute. She was looking. There was some kind of window. It was a very small window, but she could see her face.
Nice.
And then she exploded.
She's exploded.
I'm not playing. Yeah, she exploded.
Like into atoms.
Just if you see someone putting C4 at somebody else and
yeah. You saw blood and everything?
Yeah.
Or you know? Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a wild story.
Yeah, that's
only
that
on
was the
these
first
only on this channel you're gonna hear something like that.
time. She exploded right in front of me.
But did she was that a suicide or that was she was fine, that lady?
There was nobody in the house.
There was no one in the house, it was a spirit.
Yeah. It was just that Oogie Boogie I was talking about, that shadow man.
Yeah.
He laughed. I would hear his laughter.
When that happened?
When that happened, I was hear his
no
laughter.
one else heard it, but they saw.
No, they heard it.
They heard the laugh too?
They heard the laugh too.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna get into it more, but that very moment when we turned and looked at you like, oh my gosh, dude, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Like we were laughing because we were just.
And you guys were what age?
I was 4. My other sibling was maybe 2 years older than me, so she was about 6.
Oh, so that was still the year 4. Yeah, this was all happening.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. All right, continue. It's getting good.
So during this time, she ended up looking at me like, hey, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Me scared.
Yeah.
I looked at her, I was like, hey, do you hear that? And she goes, no.
Who, your sister?
Yeah. So she turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting outside, just wondering, like, maybe I didn't hear anything. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was. Maybe somebody else is outside, laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy looked at me and he starts making me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
He understands that obviously I'm scared, so he starts making me laugh. We're laughing now, and suddenly, the doors start to shut behind us when we're outside.
Yeah.
And we finally look outside across the street. We're not noticing the door shut. The door shutting
behind you.
Behind us. We didn't know the door was shutting behind us, but we look in front of us and we look and see that. Oh look, there was no exploding lady.
Yeah.
There was nothing there in the first place. Oh, dude. Oh, what the heck were we just looking at then? So we're making light of the situation.
Yeah.
As kids do, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And once you turn around, the door slams violently.
Violently?
Very hard.
Dang.
And we all turn around like,
activity?
what the heck, dude? So we try to open the door. And we finally opened the door after a few tries. And it was like as if the door was shut for a reason.
And it wasn't locked.
It was not locked.
So
but the force behind the door was the thing that's keeping us out to scare us.
Yeah.
So us children scared, we finally get inside the house. After a few tries, we get back inside the house, and we go back to coloring. Yeah. Our friend, he hears something. He goes to sleep. I do the same because I can hear it, I can feel it.
Yeah, you could feel it.
I could feel it. There was just big pressure around you, where you understood that something is here.
Like something evil? Or you didn't know at that time?
It's so hard to discern where you couldn't.
Did you feel like how you feel my presence that I'm present with you?
No.
Or it was like an awful feeling?
You ever feel like you're about to get caught? As you're a kid, you ever feel like
when you were doing something.
Your mom's gonna get you with the chancla right now. You gotta tell the truth, homie. The chancla. You know, there's a Mexican house when you smell chemicals.
Yeah.
It's just one of those houses. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
But the feeling that you get from that parent never diminishes, right? You always get that little bit of fear.
In a sense, it's fear.
Yeah.
So you're
imagine that feeling, but constantly, and along it has a friend with fear.
Damn.
So it's pain. Yeah. Along with fear. So they're conjoined together and they bring this harmony of suffering.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I had at that very moment as a child was I would tingle out of fear. So just tingle, like I'd shiver a little bit.
Yeah.
And as I was coloring, I was just trying to
dang.
Shake a little bit.
This reminds me of my favorite movie, Sixth Sense. Shout out. I love me some Sixth Sense. But yeah. So after that, so all this was just happening when you were 4 years old, just so more started happening.
A lot more, yeah. You know what's crazy is that it didn't even end there.
We ended it at 4
No, it never ended. It would continue on,
for
but
your whole life.
in a vigorous style.
A bigger style.
Yeah, so like there were times where I run up to my mom, and I was 4 years old, just running up to my mom
Yeah.
upstairs, and it was like a little condo.
Yeah.
I ran upstairs and I would bang on the door. Like my sister, she was scared too. She heard it finally.
Yeah.
She ran upstairs along with
Yeah.
and our friend. We ran up there trying to knock on, bang on the door, trying to open the door, trying to open the door, open the door. Our parents weren't exactly listening to us, so they were doing their thing.
You guys were young.
Yeah, man, we were small, so we were screaming in terror, trying to open up that door, and finally, we could see the Shadow Man coming up the stair.
Walking.
He had this like slanky appearance to him, so he was like,
Yeah.
like, but his fingers were like they look like arthritis kind of, but they were more jagged.
Crazy.
And his fingers were going like this, and he was like you ever see the cartoons? The cartoons that are just kind of like.
Yeah, like old-fashioned cartoon.
Yeah, like but he had this slinky appearance where he shrugged his shoulders and he would just kind of like beep, 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 and just kind of do it fast.
Yeah.
And he would mess with us, and he would go slow, and he would go backward, and then come up again.
Crazy.
And finally, he came off the wall, and he started coming up closer to us until finally he disappeared into the shadow of where we were at.
Yeah.
So we had no idea, and I saw his face. And when we started banging hard on that door, we're just open up. And finally, pressure like no other forced us against the wall, and essentially kind of pinning us into the
All
the
three
door.
of you guys at once?
All of us at once into the door. And
I
I
heard
felt
a
like
story like this before.
I felt like we were gonna pop.
Yeah.
And the last thought of my head was like, we're gonna explode.
Like the lady.
We're like the lady.
Saw.
We're gonna explode.
Yeah. At 4 years old, guys. At 4, he was thinking.
And finally, the door gave way.
Yeah.
And we got flung 4 feet in front of us till we hit my mom's foot.
Oh yeah.
And she looked at us and she was like, "What the heck's the matter with you guys?" And I was like,
Yeah.
She obviously knew at the same time that something was wrong, and she saw something out the doorway. The same thing I saw.
Yeah.
We saw that presence look at us, and he had this eerie look on his face where he was just like just smiling really big, but he had no teeth. It was just a dark entity of face.
Yeah.
And wrinkles like you cannot believe.
Crazy.
And eyes that look right back at you. There was nothing there that you could see, but you could see eyes.
Yeah.
And finally, my mom went like, "What the heck?" And he flung downstairs into the kitchen.
Nice.
Where it was nice and dark. And my mom pursued, and she went down the stairs, and you could hear a shining of a knife coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And as she was trying to fling her knife everywhere in the darkness, the spirit laughed.
Like everybody heard it?
Everybody in the house heard it. And it was like as if it was covering the house.
Yeah.
His laughter.
Dang.
And the more that he laughed, the more the more that my mom was fearing for her own life. You could see that in her face, even though it was dark, pitch black, lights turned off. And the living room started getting dimmer. The light itself was getting darker. And the kitchen, obviously pitch black in there.
Yeah.
Nothing in there that you could see. Finally, this laughing just stopped. I don't know, it just completely stopped.
No one said in the name of Jesus.
Nobody said anything. He was done at that moment. He was done. He was like, I had my fun.
Well, bro, that was sound like hours of terror. Usually people,
it lasted all night.
Usually people see for a little bit, they scare you, and that's it.
That's just a brief summary of what happened, bro.
Yeah.
That just
at that age.
That happened.
Okay, we're gonna get on because of for time's sake.
Okay, of course.
We got more story. You got more stories, so we could go on for another episode. But for right now, I want to get into when I first talked to you. You said that you would, in a sense, have out of body experiences, not just demonic scene, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
You would see things in the future, and then you'll see it come true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see the story that you guys were telling me about when you went, what you think is hell, and your body was hot and everything.
Well, because we talked before this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, there was a little bit of more information, but for time's sake, we're going to put this in a short summary. The best way I could try to explain it was that I was doing things that weren't right.
Yeah.
I was obviously hanging around with people that I wanted to be around with.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
What can I say?
it happens. At least you confess.
My
Let's go
idols.
back to the world.
Well, only on this channel, right?
Yeah, only on this channel.
I was idolizing a lot of people that I felt were right to idolize.
Yeah.
People that you should be fearing about. You know, there was a Big Al. Big Al was one of those people. Italian mobsters, mafias, MS-13, people from those organizations and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I know specific names.
Yeah.
Like like Iceman.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that about this guy, Iceman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fantasized about, you know, intentions to kill and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have done stuff, but you know,
Yeah.
it was hard to see myself do that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just not something that you would see yourself doing afterwards you get into salvation.
Yeah.
So now noticing those things, I actually ended up doing something to a person, and he ended up going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Shortly after this, was hanging out with a bunch of friends, drinking, smoking.
Yeah.
None of that dark stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not huffing bags or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
you know, smoking weed,
Yeah.
you know,
It's okay.
drinking, which is still pretty bad. But
Yeah.
me talking to one of the guys were like, yeah, bro. I mean, started asking me about hell. You ever know probably what hell is, bro? And I was like, if we're in hell, that'd be fine. I was like, no way, I'm gonna go to hell, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And suddenly those words came to fruition where they actually went to sleep one night. And
What age?
this was in 2019.
2019.
That's the most craziest one I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, where for 3 days I got to sit down and talk to Lucifer.
Dang.
3 nights.
He got to talk to the loser himself.
The biggest one, the first one.
The biggest first L.
First L, yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't really. I'm not gonna say he was the nicest dude, but I thought he was the coolest dude on earth.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. He sounded so slick. He
Yeah.
sounded so cool. I thought he was the coolest dude on earth, bro. I thought he was dope.
Yeah.
Like me and you and I, bro. We're just sitting here like, we
We
chilling.
barely know each other.
Yeah,
but
we barely know each other.
brothers.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
But it was like as if each day that I spent with him was like a change in the atmosphere. You understood that the shadow of his former self was beginning to go away, and the real part of him was coming out.
The pride.
He was getting. There were times where me and him would talk. He would hand me a piece of skin, and it revealed itself to be a contract. And in it were very small words that were carved in that skin.
Yeah.
The room that we were in was so dark. But in the darkness, you would kind of look out and peer side to side, left to right, and you'd see eyes. A couple of eyes.
Yeah.
And each day, the eyes would grow in number.
Yeah.
And you would fear the fierceness in those eyes on top of you. Until the last day, I felt something hovering over me. Just
Angry?
not angry. Just
Frustrated.
no. Just smelling you.
Sniffing.
Just taking you in.
Dang.
You're so fresh.
Yeah.
You're so fresh. That's the feeling I got off of that entity. You're so fresh.
Yeah.
I could smell how fresh you are.
So what were the conversations you had with Lucifer?
Joking most of the time. Just about life. About wanting more in life, you know?
Yeah.
The contract that he had was filled with a lot of desires, wants, and needs, you know? Things that you would normally ask for on a personal day-to-day basis. You know, you would just, I want a lot of money. Done. Just sign that. I want women. It's in there too, bro. I know you.
That skin.
In the skin. Yeah, in the skin. The first thing I did when I seen it, I was like, shut up, dude. Crumble up and I'll toss that at him.
Yeah, that's
But
hilarious.
when I would toss it at him, he'd go let that to make the hoop, you know, throw it in there.
It'd be cool.
But yeah, dude, he was a cool dude. Like I'm saying, like, he seemed cool.
So that's why. That's probably why they call him the like a light, a false light. So
Yeah.
he portrays himself off as light, which
Yep.
we know what the true light is now.
Yeah, of course.
But that's why I feel like that. You know what I mean?
I guess I could start by setting the scene of where we were,
Yeah.
which is a lot of detail that I actually captured.
Nice.
Um,
Shoot it.
the chairs itself was a person.
Person.
A person.
Jeez.
They were alive. But
Yeah.
when the chairs itself, they were moving, you'd feel the hands, you'd feel the feet. The chair itself, it felt like one of those little, like foldable chairs.
Yeah.
It felt like that, but it was fixed together with skin and bone.
Jeez. Do you hear the popping and stuff of it?
You
or
would
do
hear like a like groaning,
Yeah.
like get off.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would feel that off of him. You would feel that off whatever you're sitting on.
Yeah.
Like, get off of me, get off. You
Yeah,
would
yeah.
feel them gnawing on your back.
Dang.
Just
And
get
you
off.
guys are over there
get off
goofing
me.
around.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I mean, when he came around, it was like everything died. Even the chair itself.
Dang.
There was a blood table that we were at. There's no blood in hell, mind you. There's no blood in hell.
Yeah.
But the table itself was live.
Uh-huh.
So the table was see-through.
Did you care that were you burning up and stuff? Were you like
You weren't-
were you in there like when you were in hell? But did you feel like you couldn't breathe or like air was hard to come by? Or you just were burning and you not want to be there? I think you had just a God.
That-
I think you had a God experience where He wanted you to see what isn't the truth, what isn't Him. Yeah.
I guess you could say that God did protect me for the most of the time.
Yeah,
because he had sympathy for me.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I heard a lot of stories. They were like they're hearing baby scream and all this stuff, and then
That's what I was telling you.
yeah,
I was telling you that last time.
mhm,
You would hear baby scream,
yeah,
but it wasn't for the new people. You'd see people in there,
mhm,
and they didn't care that they heard baby screaming. You know what I mean? But there was good people in there. I was one of those people in there.
yeah,
And when I would hear baby screaming, I would run after to look for the baby.
yeah,
But it wasn't a baby. It was a demon lying in wait to
uh-huh,
trap you into feasting upon you.
yeah,
And they would tear you limb from limb. They'd just eat on you. They'd feast on you.
yeah,
They would go after the new people because of the people that are fresh. So it goes back to that conversation that I had earlier with you when I said that demon that was...
sniffing on it.
It was like they knew where you were at all times. It didn't matter where you went to go hide. They knew where you were.
I felt like it's because they know you're created in His image. Remember what we talked about
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah.
That makes sense.
But I want to say that the uncomfortable part, of course, you felt uncomfortable. But I
Yeah.
guess you could say the general idea of what you felt in there was that no, you couldn't breathe. No, you'll never be adjusted. You will never be like okay. The feeling that you and I have right now is totally different from what we do in hell.
Yeah,
So this ground
yeah. So
that we stand on,
yeah,
it's solid.
yeah,
Every footstep you have is assured.
yes,
You know that you're not going to fall once you take a step, right?
yeah,
That's how it is to be with God. Every step is assured.
yeah,
But without God, in hell, you don't know if you're going to fall through. It's like the floor is made out of Play-Doh.
you just have fear all the time.
You ever feel like you go up a
Elevator?
no, not an elevator, roller coaster?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a better analogy for me.
Yeah.
I guess that makes everybody else understand too.
yeah,
What it feels like to be in hell. You ever feel like that adrenaline,
yeah.
and you feel that fear that you're gonna, you gotta squeeze tight, or
because you know your stomach's
you're gonna
drop.
plummet, right? You're
Yeah,
gonna fall. You almost feel the sensation about you're gonna die probably.
Yeah.
But imagine that feeling for the rest of your life,
Dang.
and it's more intense.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly thinking about when is it ever gonna end. The
Yeah.
gnashing of teeth doesn't necessarily bring enough clarity, but it also says that the gnashing of the teeth is the only comfort you're ever going to get while you're there.
Dang, that's some crazy. Well, our time is up practically. We're gonna have to do a double. I'm gonna have to do a double shoot because we ain't even finished yet.
Mm.
So follow along as we go on the journey. Like we just went to a journey to hell, and we didn't go to hell. Nor are you gonna go to hell if you listen to this. So I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we did it.
All right.
It did end though.
It didn't.
Yeah.
All right.
But luckily I got that out. But we'll just shoot another one.
Yeah.
So I have.
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to.
No. But you did have a lot. But it's not my. If I had a better camera that can go, we would talk for 2 hours. But this one, you see it at that 30.
Yeah.
All right.